and gentlemen, this is Scotty Stuch with the Sober Sit Down. We have a very special segment today. Me and Larry Mazza are going to be promoting our new weekly series, The Life 101. And who do we get the pleasure to have in episode 1 with is Mr. Shiro Dapagio. Shiro, thank you so much for coming in on short notice.
Ciro.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Larry, you want to get it?
It's great.
Yeah, Ciro's the mob king. Yeah, he's the mob king. We got a true Hollywood guy now. I know he's all over the world right now. I think last I heard he was in Spain. He's doing real well with his project, but we'll let him talk about that. But great to be here. Nice to see you again, Ciro.
You too, Larry.
Thank you. So Hollywood is, I think, a myth when it comes to the mob. Most of the stories people tend to remember the glamour. They don't remember the endings. And I think guys like us that lived it know that it typically ends badly. So that's where I'd like to start with. How many people that went through this life do any of us know that have that happy Hollywood movie ending?
Yeah, I mean, I think what makes them so popular is people live vicariously through these characters because, let's face it, very few people could actually, walk in the shoes of guys who live that life every day, because the reality of it is that, it's a dog-eat-dog world. They can talk about the collective, respect factor, but really when you get down to it, it's really a bunch of megalomania if you think about it. I mean, it's the guy at the top, and then everybody else is expected to cater to his whims, and you never know whether you're going to catch one in the back of the head or not for something you had no idea was even coming. Just to make it clear, I mean, I grew up around them people, but I wasn't at the same type of level that you were as far as in the trenches, officially, but I was an associate, with a lot of people, as you know, and I'm not a name dropper or a cloud, chaser. I like to build my own stuff, and people like me, they like me. So I'm not really going to get into who it was or what it was, but you're aware of it, Larry. You know the players.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I understand.
But I can't talk about it, from that standpoint, like you said. It is an aberration, because the fact of the matter is, the majority of people, if they were involved, whether it be a business or anything else like that, when the usefulness of that individual was done, you pretty much were discarded. However they felt the easiest way for that to be would have been, So yeah, I agree with you in that sense.
Yeah, no, that was very well said. It is a treacherous backstabbing world, and the deeper you get, the higher you move up, the more involved you are with the so-called administration or hierarchy. You got to become treacherous also, and you got to be devious. You got to be looking over your shoulder for that guy that wants to move in on your business or put you somewhere where it's more profitable to him. You become a pawn. And a lot of people don't know that looking in because they learn from the movies. But if they lived it or they knew someone close who lived it, they'd feel the heartache, or they see what really goes on. And I did a special for the 50th anniversary of The Godfather, and they asked me that question: why is the public so enamored by that life? And my answer was that everybody has a little bad boy in them, and how far they want to take it. And that's the fun side. If you remember certain TV shows over the years, who were the memorable people in that show? Usually it was the bad guy. Like, you remember Happy Days? Remember that show, Happy Days? You guys are a little younger. But everybody wants to be Fonzie, the guy on the motorcycle. Nobody wants to be Potsy or Richie Cunningham, And some of us gravitate to it a little bit more. And unfortunately, it always leads to a terrible ending. So anyway, but
I believe
what do you think, Scott? What's your opinion on it?
The mob movies are so successful is because people really highlight the suspense part about it, which I think Hollywood has a good grasp on, making it suspenseful. The success of the gangsters and, the money, the power, the respect. the women, the cars, everything that makes it Hollywood glamour. And like Larry said, they don't ever really touch. I mean, they talk like poor Pesci. I think he's died in every movie that they made him a character in, but it's like I just think that they don't really, like Larry said, the aftermath. Like they talk about, like in Hollywood, in my opinion, is like most of them, they like Casino or Goodfellas or whatever. They have the beginning, they have the middle, and then they have at the end, like when people go away for life and all that stuff. But like usually, like they don't really touch on like families affected or people that which like kind of like yourself, like like when we hear it, like when I did Sober Sit Down, like the remarkable rebound stories. They don't talk about that build up afterwards. Really, they don't talk about like they have to follow the narrative of the person's story. But I've never heard them like really making the movie of someone who their life in that life is over, and they don't talk about that how building yourself back up in a positive way. It's usually like in those movies they take the person out and they go to jail for life, and they don't talk about the after effects or the shockwave to the family.
Right. Even Scarface, and I know that's Ciro's neck of the woods down in South Miami, there, but even the ending where he was getting shot up, and they even glorified that whole ending, like say hello to my friend and the great shootout. But how many drug deals did end up like that? Well, guys getting chainsawed. So it's not only Cosa Nostra; it's also the drug world. Anything that's outside.
The people praised Tony Montana, but the winner was Sosa.
Yeah, right.
The one with all the power was Sosa. So it's like if you want to praise somebody, praise Sosa. But whatever. I mean, the fact of the matter is that crime, no matter what it is, drug dealer, organizations, gang life, whatever, it's a dead end now. It's either prison or dead. There is no successful gangster. The days of that are gone with Arcardo and Gambino, Carlo. Those are the only ones that really had a successful career without doing jail time, extensive jail time, and stuff like that. Nowadays, it's just not going to happen. The government will get you, and they'll throw a boatload of time at you and stuff like that. And as far as Hollywood goes and how they portray it, the majority of time they get it wrong, because like Scorsese says, he works with the same people over and over again because it's very hard to find actors who can pull off being a gangster on screen. And he knows what he can get from the guys that he uses. So like you were a confidant of or an advisor to De Niro in The Irishman, that's because you know those beats. You understand? So, and Scorsese knows the beats because he's gotten them right so long. But when you think about the best mob movies, there's probably only 5 that come off the top of your head, and the rest all end up being garbage, So you got the Goodfellas 1 and 2, obviously. I mean, Godfather 1 and 2, obviously, and then Goodfellas, Casino, and Bronx Tale. But after that, it's a hard stretch to figure out where's a good mob movie. Yet they make 3 or 4 every year, And that's because they can't get the beats right.
Armand Gotti movie. I say that's one of the best accurate mafia movies.
Yeah, he was good.
Well, he was great in that, yes. But you never hear it mentioned in the top 5 mob movies. It's usually those other 5 mentioned. At least
that's true.
Hollywood circles. Maybe it was because it was an HBO. Yeah, maybe because it was an HBO produced film. Who knows? But Armand was great. Armand's a very good guy, great guy personally in life. So, I think they're trying to put the second one together. Huh?
You met
he was actually going to be in Mob King. Yeah, I've talked to him several times. He was actually going to be in Mob King, but he had a lot going on. So
fantastic guy. Yep, I agree. He's very gracious. He's giving. He's helpful. A friend of mine wound up getting a part in his movie that's coming out called Don Q. It's one of his latest ones. It's a comedy about the mob, and he knew this kid was a friend of mine. I'm not saying that's the reason he did it because the kid's a very good actor. Craig DeFrancia. He was in Green Book and he was also in The Irishman. And he had him direct the scene. So that was a real something special to Craig. Right. So when I was happy, I thanked him for that. So yeah, it was nice. But yeah, it's you're right. There's a whole bunch of garbage, movies, and there's a handful that are good, some educational. Where if you really watch, there's one that's very underrated, I'm going to tell you what it's called. It's not a classic or anything like that, but it's a movie called Mobsters. And they were a bunch of young guys.
Yeah.
But it was very
Yeah.
done well, where it gave you a history, how they got into bootlegging, how they dealt with the Jewish syndicate, how they put it together, and how they, throughout, the time they were fighting, the two Joes, Joe the Boss and Joe Masseria and Joe Maranzano, whatever. And it was a very, from what I've been told or learned over the years, very accurate and really well done. But it never became a classic or anything. But yeah.
No, I watched that, and the acting
was
was really good.
America.
Yeah, I watched that. The acting was really good. You know, you had some talented young guys back in the day. You know, that's 25 years ago. But yeah, that movie
Christian
was
Slater?
really good. I liked it a lot too.
Yeah, and the other one.
Yeah, Christian Slater.
Yes, the other one that's real good and doesn't get really. I don't think he gets its due because it's so long and people sit through it. Is Once Upon a Time in America. Okay. It also, if you watch it a few times, you see different things, different messages. And it's a really good story, too, about these young guys that went through life together, and one of them was always bad. They didn't know it until the end, and that's also true of the life today. And it's my story. I never knew my boss was an informant all those years, and there's a lot more of that coming out. Different people have been dabbling, or you're hearing a lot more of it.
Yeah, another good one that I liked that was pretty accurate was Bugsy.
Yes,
the guy that played Meyer Lansky was great. The guy that played Bugsy, obviously, Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty, right? Warren Beatty.
Yeah, and Warren Beatty. Yeah, he played Bugsy. That was really well done. Very good, accurate movie. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there are some out there, but the ones that are classically entertainment and stuff that really resonate with the public are those that we mentioned. So I'm hoping that. Obviously, Mob King is going to be a little different. It's not your stereotypical, New York guys, because you probably are well aware of, Larry. South Florida was different on how it was run. It was an open territory, so you had to deal with a whole bunch of different other avenues, and it's not your, hey, you better have my money type movie, So it hits a lot of chords with people, and it's entertaining, and I think that people are going to be really, entertained by it, and it's very well put together. We got a lot of good people in it. James Russo, who was in Donnie Brasco and Django Unchained, he plays the Dom, and then we have some other good actors, Robert Lasardo and people like that, and Oksana Lada, who was the mistress to Tony Soprano for 3 years. She's done a lot of stuff. She's in it, so we got some really good people in the movie, and we're going to be doing our world premiere at the AFM, which is the American Film Market, the largest film market in the world, on November 1st. Officially world premiere through them out there. So that's going to be pretty entertaining for us and a pretty big move. So we're looking for big things from the movie.
Oh, good for you. I'm proud of you. I'm glad to hear all that. And if you ever need a hitman or a bookmaker or a Shylock, give me a call. Play that part.
Just leave your real guns at home, Larry. You're a dangerous man.
No. There was a time I was when they were shooting at me. I learned how to get dangerous, but
I hear you, man.
It's not really my makeup. I'm not that hot headed. I'm not.
I'm just messing with you, man. You know that.
I know you are. But thank you anyway. So, but I did. I
also have a pilot. I also have a pilot that I did, which you're aware of. My brother Dave Icavetti, we got a pilot, a 1-hour drama that we did called Silent Partners, based loosely on his father and me and Dave's interactions in South Florida through that. So we got that also. So I have quite a few things coming up here in the future that's going to really knock some people's socks off.
What was...
Nice. Well, good. You keep us posted, and we'll, the weekly show, we'll keep talking about it too.
What was your inspiration for Mob King? Like,
awesome.
What got this whole project started? Because you're a jack of all trades. You're an actor, content creator, writer, executive producer. You do it all, man.
I just, to be honest with you, I didn't want to go back to jail, so I had to find something that would make money, and I just happened to be good at it. Excuse me. I just happened to be good at it, and it's just taken on a life of its own, So really the inspiration was to do something creative and to, make something that resonates and sticks. And I just, in all honesty, I got lucky with it, man. I just happen to have the ability to do it quite well, apparently. So I'm just humble and happy about that I can actually make a living at it. And, potentially I'm on the cusp of a big wave here of, some being able to really do this for a good long period of time.
Yeah, it's not easy. Not easy to get those doors open and to really get it to come to fruition. So I know what you went through, and again, I'm proud to know you. And I wish you the best. It all sounds great. So yeah,
I appreciate that.
I've been chasing a dream for a lot of years, and I tell people the stars have to align. You can have the greatest story. You can have De Niro telling you he loves it. You can be invited to Scorsese's house. You can be invited to Nick Pileggi's house. You can be partners in Mob TV. And it's such an undertaking, especially when it's a period piece. And mine stems 70s all the way to now, if you want. And it's just an incredibly tough project, all of them, to get where you are now. So God bless.
Well, I appreciate that. And like I said, I can bring on some guests next time, Oksana Lada or, one of the other stars after it launches. And, that's the good thing about it. If it really blows up, our friendships, we'll make it, pretty good that you guys get the exclusives and stuff like that, So, that's how it works, right? I'm all about
absolutely
keeping it real, I mean, I'm not. Why do I want to help somebody who's already famous be famous? I'd prefer to lift the guys up that are trying to get there and doing it the right way and stuff like that, So that's my goal on how I do things, is the amount of people that I'm going to be able to help that have been through the same type of bullshit that I don't know if I can curse. I apologize. The same type of junk, the same type of stuff that we've been through, and all that kind of stuff. And like you said, the garbage side of that lifestyle, and it is what it is, but in the end, there's a bunch of people out there trying to find things to do that just don't really know how to do it much anymore. And all they got to draw on is what their experiences were. So if we can help, people who are genuinely wanting to turn their life around and do the right things, I'm all for it,
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very nice. The message, I like to help people too. I think it comes back at you when you do that, and it goes around in a nicer way.
For me, the main thing, if you want the main answer on what I was hoping to achieve with Mob King and being in this business, is that even though I felt like I wasn't doing anything wrong, obviously we think that when we're charged with racketeering, but the government sees it differently. But I want to be able to create a legacy for my kids and stuff, where the second half of my life is at least perceived better than the first half. No matter how much your kids love you or whatever, to say your dad's in prison for a decade and a half, it's not really a fun way to grow up. You know what I mean? So if I can change that narrative, create something good, and, have a thing where they could be like, yeah, that's my daddy made movies, as opposed to, yeah, that's my daddy was an inmate. It's just a lot better. So that's my inspiration. That's what drives me. And, to really be able to be a person where people say, that guy's doing good. That guy does things nice for people, helps people out, and makes really good movies. That's what it boils down to. That's all I'm shooting for.
Yeah. It's just pride, ego. You don't want to go out a loser. We were losers at one time. I mean, let's face it, going through that life, spending 10, 15 years, 18, whatever it was. I was 10. And, you come out, you don't want to go through that again. You want to make a positive in the second half, the second chance. And, very good. Yeah, my message is, I tell a lot of my podcasts, been on the talk show, but that they need life to be respected. Earn it, isn't it? You will earn respect, and you don't need that life to make a living. There's a lot of ways to make more money, and you can spend it because you're making it legitimately. You don't have to look over your shoulder, and go to school. If you went to college, you could make a lot of money,
The funny thing about the internet is that you have these, small amount of people who love to hate on the stuff other people are doing by, casting negative shadows on them or whatever. And the fact of the matter is that, these people would do whatever they could to get out of a DUI if they could. You know what I'm saying? The same people that are throwing shade on everybody else for a whole bunch of other things. And they really couldn't hold the socks of 90% of the people who are out there trying to do stuff, but they want to just, say, oh, this guy don't know this and this guy don't know that. My simple line to people is if you want to do a life of crime, you have no brain cells. There's no, people don't realize that. I don't care how successful you are as a drug dealer, gangster, whatever in this day and age, as soon as you get indicted, you lose everything, every single thing. You won't even have money for attorneys because the government locks you down on everything, and if that message could get put out to the young guys who think it's cool, with all these, people trying to go around and rob people and do all this other stuff that they're doing, following their Instagrams. You see all these little gangs of guys going around and robbing people off of Instagram, the wealthy people, the celebrities. They don't realize that this one little crime that they're doing, when they charge them with the RICO, they're going to go away for life. And what is a Rolex or a person's gold chain or $20,000 worth your life for? It's not. So go get a job making $40,000 a year, and you would have made more than that one score that you were trying to get.
And that's the whole point of
it's common sense.
And that's the whole point of Sober Sit Down. It's not just about drugs and alcohol. It's about inspiring people to change. It's never too late to make that change. I can't tell people enough. It's never too late to make that change. I mean, there's some things I'll touch on eventually when I get deeper into my stories. But my dad's 61 and he just went through a really hard time and owned a business for 37 years. And he had to make a big change in his life. And he's a hero in my eyes for that because he didn't give up on himself. He did what he had to do like a man. And, he came out a better man, and he's my hero in my eyes for that, and that's more or less what inspired me to keep moving along with that.
Yeah, the other thing is you got to learn from your mistakes, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and getting the same ridiculous result. So I know guys that did 10 years, came back, went in again, came out, went in again. I mean, over this course of 40 years, they probably spent 30 of them in the can. And what are they waiting for? To learn that now.
And if you think about it, did you really come into this game of life to spend it in a sardine can? I mean, come on. You gotta be able to realize that the jig is up. There is no future in crime. There is none. So if you're thinking you're going to be the next, Carlo Gambino or the next Tony Montana, you really got a screw loose. You got to, your delusional psychosis is really taking over your body because all you're gonna get is a lifetime of anguish sitting in a prison cell.
Yep, with the new laws and cameras and all the different
everything. It's just there is nothing there. It's not gonna happen.
It's not even right. It's not even worth pursuing. So so we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah. So we make movies, and people can enjoy living vicariously through those characters and have fun through those characters and go to the water cooler on Monday and talk like Tony Montana or talk like, the Godfather and recount the cool scenes that they've seen. And, and then everybody live a good, peaceful life. That's the goal should be for most people, Yeah. So I got to get back to my guys here. We're on location scouting. I wanted to pop on with you guys, but like I said, next time we can set up, maybe bringing on a couple of the stars with you.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, that'd be great. And thank you. No, I appreciate you coming on, and best of luck to you. Break a leg, and don't forget me if you need a bad guy. I'll be there in a heartbeat.
Thank you.
You got it, man. You got it. So take care,
we
guys.
Can stay rolling, me and you, if you want.
Bye-bye.
Yep, absolutely. Ciro Dapagio. Good man. I got the pleasure of meeting him in Boca Raton, maybe about a year ago, with his brother Dave, and we liked him that night. I enjoyed talking with him just as I did now, and he's doing some good things. So he's one of those that made.
And Larry, that's what it just is. It's all about
perfect guest for us.
I think personally, when you get your nose stuck in the dirt and you don't stay on the ground, and like Rocky when he's in the 13th round and he gets up for that final round and he goes back in for that fight. Like, I think when I talk to you about, like, when you go down, you go up, and you go down, then you get brought back up again. Like, I think people are more appreciative, and that really, like, I could say personally, when I hit rock bottom with sobriety and everything like that, I really got my nose dug in the dirt because, like, it was with addiction, financials, all that stuff. So I'm more appreciative of small things now.
Mhm.
And I think that, like, when you have people that come up and they go through bad
Right.
experiences like yourself or myself or like Chiro, like, at the end of the day, I think that you're more appreciative of the small things in life. And, like, you heard what he said, like, he's more about helping people that are trying to grow, and that's very
Mhm.
humbling. And same thing with you. You're the same way. Like, you're always willing to give that helping hand, shirt off the back type of guy.
Mhm. No, thank Yeah. Well, everybody needs a little help in their lives to some extent, one time or another. I was lucky enough to have family that always helped me. So you extend it in other ways. It's like I don't know if you're ever in a store and you see a person is a dollar or two short for something, and you go in your pocket, you paid it $2 for them, and they think it does the world. So, oh, how could you do that? It's $2. Maybe she'll do that for somebody. I've done that probably 100 times in my life, where I saw somebody was a little short on money.
Yeah,
So
just
I
being a
hope it
good
comes back
person,
around, and it should.
positivity, and just
Karma usually,
around. So
yeah.
let's me and you
Hmm.
discussed a couple weeks ago. Styles and nicknames in the mafia.
And then there was Mo Black's brother, Fat Andy, and his guys, Frankie the Wop, Freddie No Nose, and then there was Pete the Killer, who was Sally Balls' brother.
Took care of that thing for you.
Have at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's endless. I did an article for a newspaper. I shouldn't say a newspaper; it's an online news entity, and it started out by them asking me, "Where did you get your nickname?" My nickname, actually, I had two. I had Legitimate Larry, and I had Skinny Larry. And the reason I was Legitimate Larry is because when I was in the life, in the business, I didn't do everything everybody did. I had my bookmaking business, was making a fortune, and I didn't take unnecessary risks to pick up 10,000 here or 5,000 there because my business was ongoing. And one day I wouldn't use a fake credit card, and they nicknamed me Legitimate Larry because I wouldn't use a fake credit card, and they were all using them, and it stuck. They even called me that in court one day. The other one was Skinny Larry, was because when I had my pool room and somebody would call up looking for Larry, we also had another Larry there who was round, and he was Fat Larry. So they would say, "Which Larry?" Skinny Larry. That stuck, and that was also said in court. So that being said, nicknames could come from something that is obvious, like let's say Big Louie. The guy's 6'6", so he gets a nickname Big Louie. Nothing funny about that. It could also be just the opposite. We had a guy around us nicknamed Joe Brains. He was the dumbest, not only dumbest mobster, but probably the dumbest person you'll ever meet. I mean, he could hardly talk. He was just dumb. So his nickname became Joe Brains. There was another guy we called Tiny. He was bigger than Big Louie, but they called him Tiny as a goof. So sometimes it could be that. There's one of my favorite nicknames was Louie Haha. You ever hear that one?
Yeah.
You heard it. Okay. Do you know how we got the nickname?
You like to laugh, or is he serious?
No, he liked to laugh when somebody got killed or he heard somebody got killed. He would just start laughing. So they started calling Louie Haha. I mean, weird. Tommy Karate. He got it because he was very good in martial arts. He actually went to, I want to say, China or somewhere to learn really the deep roots of the backgrounds of martial arts and karate. And it could have been there, could have been Thailand. Thailand is very big for that too. So he got his nickname Tommy Karate. Then you'll get somebody like the Grim Reaper, my boss, Greg Scarpa. I mean, you don't have to really explain that. This guy was the biggest killer in the family, had probably more bodies than cancer. He just was an incredible killer, and they called him the Grim Reaper. So, would you have any that you like that are funny to you, or
What was
any
that?
over the years? Any nicknames from the Wise Guys that you could think of that you found entertaining?
Growing up in the bar, it was all about, everybody broke everybody's balls. It was constant. Like,
Yeah.
none that I can really think of.
Yeah.
My dad owned like I told you, my dad was well known in the area. He was well known for he brought like chicken wings to the area, and like he had a big sports bar and stuff like that. And they used to call him Chicken Johnny, and they call me LC, Little Chicken.
Right.
So.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it. And the funny thing is, there's guys in the life that I knew for 20 years or so, and I didn't know their real names. I only knew them by their nickname, like Huck, Tootie. These guys who I never would have. To this day, I don't know their real names. So then you get the government gives some out. Like Gotti wasn't known as the Teflon Don. He was known as John Gotti, and then all of a sudden he's the Dapper Don, he's the Teflon Don, and that all came from the newspapers. So they're responsible too for a lot of the nicknames. Carmine the Snake Persico. I actually asked my boss, Greg, how did he get that nickname? And he told me a couple of stories, and then different things would happen over the years. He'd look at me and say, they don't call him the Snake for nothing. Really weaving in and out of trouble.
Why'd they call Chin?
Why'd
they call Chin Gigante Vinny the Chin? Why'd they call him Chin Gigante? Do you know that one or no?
Well, he was a boxer. He was a boxer. He was a fighter, a boxer, and it was either because he could take a good punch, and I believe that's what it was. He could take a good punch because he wasn't a good boxer, but he was a boxer, and he was like a punching bag from what I heard. And it could have also been because he got knocked out a few times. Got hit on the chin and got knocked out. But I think it was the first one I said. I'm pretty sure it was because he was punchy. He took a lot of hits, but he could take it. He was able to, some guys could take a punch.
That's a compliment.
So, yeah, Vincent the Chin. No, absolutely.
I gotta ask you why we're.
And then the newspaper. I was going to say, then the newspapers nicknamed him the Oddfather when he started walking around with the robe and around sunny days. So
I got to ask you while we're on the subject of hands, talking about boxing and stuff, and like you were in martial arts and stuff, and like I know in life there's guys that are business guys, and there's guys that get their hands dirty, and as far as enforcers go, like where I come from, like, and like obviously it's nowhere near the level of you guys and stuff like that, but you got guys that are nuts that'll, be, how do I want to say this? Like, they're quick to grab a weapon. They're not tough. They're just crazy.
Well, here's the thing. It's a great point you bring up. They'll describe a guy like Crazy Joe Gallo as a tough guy. Now, I don't know how he was with his hands. I have no idea. But I know he'd shoot you in a heartbeat. So they considered that a tough guy. My boss, Greg Scarpa, I never saw him fight anybody. I never, but he'd kill you in a heartbeat. And he was the toughest guy in Brooklyn. One of the toughest guys, So you're known as a tough guy if you're a shooter also. Right or wrong, you are. You're known as a tough guy. But I get your point. A lot of guys, there are guys that will fight you hand to hand. There are a lot of the guys you're talking about, the enforcers, they're big guys, huge, that most people don't want to. They're still going to come with 2 or 3 guys. They're still not coming along if they got to go to work on somebody. It's to put on a show. It's to send a message. So you got to make sure you're going to leave there, walk out of there, and that guy's going to the hospital. So it's more of a matter of opinion. I started in martial arts as a kid because you're in Brooklyn. it's you got to have a chip on your shoulder. You got to know how to handle yourself, and you're going out to nightclubs. So I did it for that, and I was fairly good at it, and I continued on years and years and years. Even in Florida, when I was away, I trained with boxers. I trained with a guy that sparred with Muhammad Ali for years. Another guy that was a gold medal winner in the Olympics. So I learned a lot even while I was away, because that's how I did my time, sports and things. Then when I came back out, I was around incredible fighters like Donnie Hare, Don the Dragon Wilson. He opened up 2 of my clubs in Florida. He's a movie star today, but probably one of the best kickboxers in history, Don the Dragon Wilson. You can look him up. I got pictures of me with him. So, I'd like to think I was somewhere in between. I wasn't going to run from anything. And then even when the war started, I had to pack my guns, And Sammy the Bull said it really good. He said it on an interview once about our crew, the 13th Avenue guys. He says, in the life, there are racketeers who are just there to earn. And there are killers. He said, your crew was racketeers and killers. We were both. We didn't go to anybody for help. We didn't ever ask for enforcers. We took care of our own. And we made a fortune. We were in everything there was to do. Even guys branched off into drugs. I never did that, but they got big into drugs. If there was the credit cards, you name it. We were in it to someone. Cabbage Patch dolls. We had more than Macy's when they were looking for them years ago, all the little kids. So, but, so we earned, and we also did a lot of work for the family. And Greg liked that. He says, kept us very high up in Junior's eyes, Persico.
Yeah, like a lot of people, they highlight like enforcers and tough guys in the mafia, and you hear names like Greg Scarpa, because like you said, he was quick to kill people. Roy DeMeo, Gemini Lounge crew, because they're quick to kill somebody. I don't remember ever hearing anybody speak on behalf of somebody that you didn't want knocking on your door that was quick with their hands that's going to give you the beating of your life. They never, other than gun violence, I never really heard anybody talk about anybody in the mafia that was really, really good with their hands that nobody wanted to go one-on-one with. You know what I mean? And that's the point of that. Cause
there were a handful around that, were known to be good fighters, whether it's just from growing up fighting all the time and getting used to it and getting better, or some that trained like Tommy Karate. I mean, I never saw him fight, but I heard he was really good. He could use his martial arts to a high level. It certainly helped me a few times in a couple of situations. And then, you also get guys that are just thugs in the life. They're thugs. They can't really earn. They become hangers on. They'll do whatever they're told to do. They'll rob their friends. They'll do anything for money, So I'd like to think I was a little above that, even in the life that I was in. So.
Yeah, and karate back then, like 70s and 80s, the Karate Kid movies were big. Karate was big in the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s, and still to this day. I mean, MMA wouldn't be.
Well, it is. Yeah, the MMA took over. And don't forget the Rocky movie did a lot for that too. The original Rocky movie
for martial arts. And
I remember it came out on boxing. But it's similar, just a fight game. I remember we went to see that movie. It was on Easter vacation. We were out of school, and I believe we saw it 5 times in that 10 days. We just kept going back to the movies to see the movie, just the music, the fight scenes, the training, and I was in martial arts at the time, and I still loved it. So yeah, I still do. My gym now, we're redoing the backyard. We put up all those sun sails. They cover the sun. They're like sails, and we're hanging all the heavy bags out there. We're got the battle ropes. We've got other stations outside, so you could get a good workout outside in the fresh air.
Yeah,
which is nice.
That's huge. I mean, Larry, for the people that aren't in tune with your Facebook page and stuff like that, anybody that's in the state of Florida, Larry, your gym is in Cocoa Beach, Florida, correct?
Yeah, it's called Sunset Fitness of Merritt Island.
And it's a
We're
gym
on the
and
island.
training facility, right?
Yeah, it's a gym. It's a fitness center, but we like to be driven by trainers. We have a lot of trainers in there, so I don't have to have an enormous amount of members. We have programs like we do boot camps. There's a karate class. There's martial art, kickboxing, and we train a lot of students from other schools. Like I've got friends that have martial arts schools around the state of, the area, and they send them to us for conditioning if they want to get to a higher level and actually start fighting to compete. Because if you're going to compete, you take karate for self-defense originally. But now if you want to compete, you're going to have to outlast an opponent. You're going to have to be in good condition, stamina. So they come there and we put them on the ropes. We jump rope. We get the speed bag, the double end bag, the heavy bags, a lot of ab work, a lot of running, a lot of calisthenics. And it's really, I've been doing it for a long time here. I've gotten people ready for military, gotten people ready for fights. And up until I was about 52, 53, I was still sparring on a regular level. But that's 9 years ago now. I'm 62 almost, so I don't really do as much sparring. I got to stay good looking for all these podcasts I'm doing. I don't want to bend my nose anymore. It got a little bent. But
That's like me back in the day with the hockey fighting and stuff. But even like what you're saying, like that, I know exactly what you're talking about, like with conditioning, the fighters stuff like that. Because like I boxed for a short period of time, and there are certain types of lifting that you have to do. Like it's not your traditional going in bench press and stuff like that, because you want your hands to be fast. You don't want to be doing military press and like restricting your shoulder movement and having like tight tendons. You want to be able to snap your punches, be more exclusive, and it's a certain type of training.
we do a lot. Yeah, we'll do maybe 5 rounds, 2-minute rounds, or not quite that. Minute push-ups. If you get tired, do push-ups, jump down, do some ab work, stand up, jump rope, grab the light weights like 3-pounders, throw your jabs, 1-2s, uppercuts, hooks, just keep move and faster, not so much harder. Even on the heavy bag, you don't have to hit it harder, hit it faster. And a lot of kicks. We have a lot of kick drills. And at the end of the day, it's a full workout. Core, the push-ups are hitting your chest and your arms and everything. And we'll do a little lightweight, little bit of light stuff for shoulders and arms. You don't want to go too heavy and get too, stiff, like you said. But if you do, we do a lot of flexibility too. We start and end with flexibility, a lot of stretching. So we're not going to let that happen. Even if a person lifts weights, he's going to stay loose.
So, it's like Mike Tyson.
But no, you're right. It's a whole different kind of
Mike Tyson. I'm a big Mike Tyson fan. I mean, my favorite boxer of all time is Rocky Marciano. I love the Rocky Marciano story. He's my favorite, hands down. And he was one of the smaller heavyweights. I think he was like only a $185 back then, or like maybe 200. But
yeah, and he wasn't very tall. Yeah.
Only undefeated champ ever.
Forearm. Yep. And when they cover up, he punched them right in their forearms. He'd break their forearms. That's like a mule punching. Yeah, no, I mean, none of us had the privilege to see him fight. But from what you hear, and right, he was undefeated. I think being a little underweight for that heavyweight division and fighting all those years, he's probably the best of all time.
He was a tough guy.
I mean, people say Ali, but
he was a factory worker, and they said he used to fight like a factory or some sort of manual labor job, and he used to fight, and he just they said he was a brawler, and somebody's like, hey, get into these amateur fights, and then it just took off there from him.
Yeah.
But back to what I was saying about Mike Tyson, a lot of that training for the fighting that like you're talking about in the gym and stuff, like it's a lot of like no weight, like 500 push-ups a day, or like squatting, building up your legs, your core.
Exactly.
It's not doing a bunch of curls with dumbbells and stuff like that. Like it's pull-ups, sit-ups, like all that stuff that really doesn't require. Because that's what it gets me. Like when people say to me, like they're like, "Oh, I wish I had money for a gym membership." What do you mean? Like it's usually like $20 to $50 a month. You spend that on a pizza takeout, but not for that. But like I said to my one buddy one time, he's like, man, I wish I can get in shape. I go, what's stopping you? I go, stop putting bad stuff in your mouth. He goes, well, I wish I had money to go to the gym. I go, it's summertime. I go, you got shoes? Go run. I said, you got shoes? Go run. I go, you got a yard? Go do push-ups. I go, nothing can stop you from fitness.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's exactly. If you really want to do it, you do it. Now, it's nice to have a gym. It gives you options and it gives you that motivation. But yeah, absolutely. You got to want to do it first. We used to have a drill where we put a car out in front of the gym. And this isn't the gym I'm at now. I'm on a main thoroughfare now, but I used to be more on a side street. And when the school closed, it was really deserted, which is the reason I left that spot. But we used to have the fighters push a car a block, then get on the other side of the car and push it back. So 2 fighters pushing a car, you know the leg work they were getting?
Leg, core,
So you
everything.
could find plenty of ways to do it.
Your core, your legs,
Yeah.
their legs are probably destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, but they overcame it and they kept doing it. And some of those guys went on to get, some decent little bouts, fights on their way up. But it's tough. It's very, very tough to, really succeed in that. And you got to sacrifice everything. You got to not care what you look like. You got to really just know your ears are going to get battered. Your nose is going to be broken a few times. And is it worth it? I guess if you're Mayweather, it is, or you become Sugar Ray Leonard or a top guy like that making millions and millions of dollars for fights. Yeah, I mean, but too many don't. Too many become punch drunk, and it wasn't for me. I like the sport of it, and I like the self-defense, but I wasn't looking to be a champ,
No, I like the cardio. I like the challenges. I like what came with it. Like, I knew I was never going to take it to that level of extreme. Like, I got into it late. But
right.
Like,
you're realistic.
it was a great workout, and you got a good sweat in. You're sweating out all those toxins and stuff like that. You got an amazing workout. And what I liked about boxing was like it wasn't just your traditional running where you're just like losing muscle. Because if you run too much, you'll actually start losing muscle and breaking it down. I like it. It's a muscle building cardio is what I like about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're 100% right. And it's not boring. It's not boring. And when you finish that type of workout, you really know you worked out. Where you could do 8 sets of bench press and then, all right, you're done. You know what I mean? You push the weights. When you put it all together like that, where you're breathing heavy and you're mixing it up, on the floor for the abs, like I said, and then jump up and do, 15 pull-ups and then down to the floor. Burpees or blurpees, I know people call them both things. You know that exercise,
yeah,
right?
It's like you get down and you jump up and then you get down.
You kick your legs out, do the push-ups, jump. But that's your whole body's moving. It's crazy. And they hated that when I said 10. I said, let's do 10 to start. Nobody wanted to do them. But you know what Bruce Lee said? That which hurts instructs. So if it hurts you and it fatigues you, it's instructing you to get better.
Pain
So
is the
I got a lot
weakest
of
thing in the
good
body.
wisdom things from. Yep. Well, that's good. Yeah, I've got a bunch of those from Bruce Lee. Won a bunch of coaches like Pat Riley. While I was away, I put a whole thing together, my whole program, and I used a lot of their things in my chapters. So.
Larry, I got to ask you. We got football season around the corner.
Listen.
We got football season around the corner. Who's your team? I never asked you. I'm going to say Jets or the Giants.
Well, growing up, yes, of course. But what happened over the years when I got into the gambling game, I couldn't root for a team because, especially in New York, I was a Met fan. But when everybody in New York is betting the Mets, I'm rooting for the other team because my money was more important to me than the Mets winning, So what happened as time went on, I started rooting for players. Like I wanted to see one that comes to my mind a lot is John Elway. I like John Elway a lot as a quarterback. And he got to the championship games. He never could win a Super Bowl. Finally, toward the tail end of his career, he won 2 back-to-back, if you remember. So I was happy for him. I rooted for Dan Marino like he was my brother. I wanted Dan Marino to win a Super Bowl. He was loyal to his team. He stood with Miami all those years. So even now, even baseball, I might root for a certain player that's been around a long time and he didn't win it yet. But my Mets are doing good this year, so I'm happy for them.
Are you into college? Are you into college ball?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And again, same thing there. I do a lot of handicapping on the college level because it's something I used to be really, really good at. So over the summer, I get a lot of paperwork on teams, players, recruiting, things like that. Who's coming back from the year before? Who's the backups? And I can because I was doing it before. This is one of the sheets, all the work I did just for this week. All those numbers mean something. And I've had picked a couple of good ones so far. So, they don't all win. You can never win everything because the ball bounces funny, whatever, the weather changes. But, the course of my lifetime, I've done well with that. So I like to, it keeps me sharp.
Anybody that sticks out to you based upon your picks and stuff like that? Anybody based upon a prediction for the Super Bowl this year?
Well, okay. Here's your college. If you talk to a guy that likes college football, he's a big fan, and I know who he's going to tell you is the best team and is going to win the championship. He's going to say Alabama. Everybody's going to say that knows college football. Oh, they can't beat Bama. They can't beat Alabama. Okay, yeah, I'm not. But are you going to lay, a ridiculous amount of money to win $100? You're not going to do it, so it doesn't matter. You want to find sleepers, teams that bring value. I have one, and it's Michigan. Michigan has as good an offense as probably anybody in college football. The other ones that come to mind, of course, Alabama, a good offense, great offense. USC, Ohio State, the usual suspects. Michigan, they sort of under the radar, but their offense is good. Defensively, they could give Ohio State a run at that division. So if they win and they're in the playoffs, they can be a very dangerous team with their offense. And the reason I would take them over Alabama is because for $100, I'm going to get $800 back if Michigan wins. And I think they have a good shot where I would have to lay 800 to win 100 on Alabama. I'm not going to do that. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean that's just like that.
I think
it's picking the obvious. You know what I mean? It's you got to watch like the turnover,
right.
you were saying with the money difference.
Hey, this thing is going to shut off on us. We might want to close this out and say goodbye.
Okay.
I got a thing that coming up here says
okay.
because I guess it's an hour already.
Okay.
So.
Guys, thanks for coming out tonight. This
Do you have
first
something
episode
on your
of
screen?
the Life 101 with me and Larry Mazza. I believe it was a great success. We're posting the link underneath. Guys, check out Larry's book, The Life. Amazing book. Keep you on the edge of your seat. We got fall time and winter time coming. When you have those down days and it's cold out, you're going to want to catch this book. This book is absolutely amazing. You'll see the link in our description below. And thank you guys for coming out tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you, Larry, and I'll be seeing you soon.
And next week, no problem. My pleasure. I'll see you next week, and next week we'll talk a little more sports too. I like that. Maybe we'll get some people that like football, and we'll give them some insight.
Absolutely.